What got you into drifting?
Oh, that's easy. This guy, he drifted. Then he was like, yeah, we go to drift events. And I was like, a drift event? He was like, yeah, we go to drift events. And then we went to a drift event at Lake County Speedway.
Lake County Speedway was the first one. That was my first drift event too. Not the same event that Brian went to for his first one.
Shout out to Scott Petty.
Yeah, Lake County Speedway is definitely the OG in my book. I got into it, my roommate actually. He was kind of interested in just racing in general, and when I bought a rear-wheel drive car, yeah, he was like, you gotta get into drifting, and I obviously didn't know anything about it, and I got into it. Never got very good at it, but still.
Yeah, I only got into it because Nick got into it. Yeah. So I guess Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, Brandon, if you see this, thank you. Well, so I started in 2015, and then you started probably very shortly after that, so probably 2016 at the latest.
2016, yeah, probably. I mean, it changed my life. I mean, I don't think without the drift community I would have my business or do any of the things that I do today.
Yeah.
I think it's just changed my entire life. I don't know.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I really don't know either, but the drift community is definitely the best racing community in my opinion. I've done autocross, I've been to track days, I've hung out with those crowds, and honestly, the people who I like to be around the most are the people who are drifting. People come to our events, people go to drift events in general. They're cool people, they're fun to be around, they're just very laid back. It's not I mean, it is a competitive sport once you get to that point, but it's not competitive where we're at, and I think that really, really makes a good atmosphere for everybody. So.
started, actually it sounds ridiculous, but with a Mark IV Supra back in like 2011. I picked up a shell for like $5,000, which was pretty common back then. But today it's like, I say that and people are like, what the hell? But yeah, so I built that thing and it took me like 2 years. I did completely everything on it, and I wanted to do as much as I could with it. So drifting, I did half-mile drags, regular drags, also did some road course with it. And this, as Supra prices went absolutely nuts and it became way more ridiculous to do that with the car. Yeah, basically, I wanted to find a different platform that I could kind of build up and do that, and then do as much as I could with. So, yeah, that's basically this thing's story. I do a little bit of everything with it. It's not really a drift car or whatever, but I take it road course. I was at Bowling Green, Kentucky last weekend at NCM. Last month was Autobahn Country Club by Chicago. So I run with Mesa Green Lakes group. So that's primarily what this thing does. Then it kind of slides on the side. But yeah.
How's the drift community for you in your experience?
Drift community is awesome. I think the drift crew is, everybody here is super friendly. You know, if you break anything or you need a part or something like that, they're super cool with helping you out. It's completely the opposite of like a competitive road course environment in some ways, right? So yeah, everybody just treats you like friends or family, kind of.
So what got you into drifting?
Been driving my whole life, like four-wheelers and stuff when I was young, and then I just like in the snow, just having a good time, you know. And then my buddy brought me here, who was drifting, like for a year before that. And yeah, I've just been doing that.
And then why did you choose your car? And then talk a little bit about your car as well.
When I got this car, I didn't plan on drifting it whatsoever. It wasn't even a question. I was just kind of looking for something a little, you know, sporty, fun, manual. And then my buddy brought me here, and then I learned that, like, yes, these are actually pretty popular for this, and it's like the easy and very fun and cheap platform.
I have a 350Z. It's definitely probably my favorite chassis. I probably wouldn't get rid of it. I think it's just simple and it's easy. So 350Z, I think anyone who's getting into drifting, the 350Z is a great chassis. Other than that, it's probably a Corvette. For the simple fact that it's just a turnkey comp car. I mean, you have a V8, you have all the opportunity for making power that you want, and it comes in a pretty great package right from the factory. So I think for beginners on a budget, 350Zs, and I think for anyone who has a little bit of money, probably a Corvette. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I've got an FRS, a Scion FRS. I haven't driven it in a couple of years. It's been going under some serious maintenance, but I like that car a lot. I probably never get rid of it either. But honestly, I really like drifting 350Zs too. I drove Brian's car. The first time I ever got in that car, I hadn't drifted in probably like a year and put down a decent lap for somebody who's not great at driving after like 2 or 3 laps. So I would highly recommend 350Zs for beginners as well.
Any tips or helpful hints for newcomers and beginners?
Don't make dumb decisions. It's easy to make dumb decisions. It's easy to step in the bullshit of chassis superiority. I think that it's easy to look at YouTubers who drift and think that it's some easy thing to get into. If I had any advice for somebody who was just getting into the sport, it would be make sure you're financially stable, because it's going to cost a lot, and make sure you know what you're getting into, because there's things that are in drifting that are not easy, and spending $1,000 a weekend to put a car on a track isn't super easy for everyone. But I think drifting rewards the people who put their all into it. I think it gives them a platform, even in the grassroots community. I think it gives them networking opportunities. I think it gives them obviously opportunities to become a better driver. And I definitely think it gives them opportunities to learn more about their car, about motorsports. I think it's easily attainable. And I think that anyone who wants to get behind the wheel of a car on a racetrack should probably try drifting first. I think it's the easiest sport to get into just because of the community. It's expensive, but racing cars is, and I think that it will drastically change your life just by the people you meet, the things you do, and the places you go. I think it's probably the greatest motorsport on the planet. I don't think there's any other way around it. I think that it's pure, it's fun, and anyone can get into it almost at any reasonable budget. And I think that everyone should at least try it once. I think it's probably the most fun you can have in a car.
Yep.
That's my opinion on it.
I have met so many people who've come out to drift events for their first time, and then a lot of people have come out for their 10th time or 100th time, and no matter who you are, you leave our events or any drift event smiling. I don't think I've ever met anyone that said I have not had a good time at a drift event. It's, like Brian said, like probably the greatest motorsport on the planet in my opinion. And advice for beginners, my advice is, don't be afraid to kind of suck, right? That was my biggest fear going into it, is spinning out and kind of, annoying other people or, looking like you don't know what you're doing. None of us knew what we were doing at the beginning, and especially even the people who were, driving really well and looking really good while they're doing it. So practice makes perfect, or as close to perfect as you can get. And the community, the community is really good. They're not going to look down on you for mistakes or anything, so don't be afraid to make them, and come out here, just don't make any dumb mistakes. Like Brian said, nothing that could put you, yourself, or anybody else in danger, but learn. It's a learning experience, and once you get there, I'm sure you'll love it.
Yeah, I agree. I think probably the biggest thing for me about drifting is the camaraderie. I mean, you're in pretty elite company. I think anyone who drives a car on a track relatively seriously is an elite company, but I think drifting is probably the best. It's the best form of motorsport. I mean, you're controlling a car that's out of control. That's the premise of the sport. And I think that anyone who's afraid to get into it because of the money shouldn't be. I think that even if, you max out your credit cards and overdraw your bank account, I think that probably what you gain from going driving is probably worth it. And I think anyone who wants to take it seriously just needs to understand that it's an expensive sport, but it's probably the most influential thing I've ever done in my entire life. It's probably paved the way for where I've gone more than anything else in the world. So I definitely recommend anyone try it, at least once. Get behind the wheel, drive your car at its limits. Learn what you can do. Learn what the car can do. Learn what you can afford to do. And just do it. Just get out there and do it. I mean, I think that's like the biggest thing with any motorsport. Whether the person watching this wants to get into drifting, or wants to get into autocross, or wants to get into time attack. The easiest way to do it is just start doing it, even if you suck. No one ever got good at anything without sucking first, so you might as well just go do it.